what Saudi Arabia's 2034 World Cup will look like. So we're about to see what this video is about, man. Without further ado, let's get straight into the video.
Saudi Arabia is set to host one of the biggest and most prestigious sporting events in the world, the FIFA World Cup. The tournament was last held in neighboring Qatar back in 2022 and had a peak viewership of a mind-boggling 1.5 billion viewers during the historic final between Argentina and France. But going beyond the thrill and excitement behind the event itself are the incredible feats of engineering and architecture that make these games possible in the first place. From a futuristic and avant-garde stadium that looks almost straight out of science fiction to an arena that's supposed to be built hundreds of meters above the ground on top of the line. Yes, you heard that right, on top of the line. These are just...
I'm not gonna lie, man. This is a big major project, bro. This thing's huge. You see that stadium, bro? Golly, that stadium is huge. I bet it can hold probably approximately 90,000 people, or they might make the biggest stadium ever. You get what I'm saying? You never know. They probably planning on doing that, but we're about to see more in this video.
Some of Saudi Arabia's ambitious plans for the 2034 World Cup. And with just less than a decade left before the event, how exactly is the kingdom planning on building all of these venues in time? And can they even pull it off? Saudi Arabia is a country that's no stranger when it comes to ambitious megaprojects. In fact, we've already featured them many times before on this very channel. But more often than not, there are many different controversies surrounding them. In order for a country to successfully become the host for the World Cup, they first have to go through an extensive bidding process that takes place decades before the games are even held. The way it works is that when one continent hosts the games for a specific year, they won't be able to do so within the next 2 World Cup cycles. And with the 2026 games in North America, as well as an unprecedented 2030 bid, which will be held across 3 different continents, Saudi Arabia became the sole bidder for the 2034 tournament, effectively becoming the de facto host of the event, even before FIFA votes to formally appoint them as such. Many critics view this series of events as dubious and questionable, given the unprecedented changes in the 2030 selection that paved the way for what's essentially a guaranteed win for Saudi Arabia for 2034. It's even been reported that the president of FIFA himself, Gianni Infantino, was instrumental in making sure that the kingdom would earn the right to host the event. The controversy goes even further though, with reports of FIFA not following their own guidelines, as well as Saudi Arabia itself being a country that's historically had a very poor track record when it comes to human and labor rights. Nonetheless, the World Cup was given to Saudi Arabia, and in less than 10 years from now, they have to finish their ambitious plans for it.
Less than 10 years, yeah, I think it's possible.
The 2034 World Cup will be held.
The reason why I said I think it's possible is because it depends on how many workers they have, how much money they have, and what else? Like 10 years, yeah, it's possible. You can build a stadium like in 6 months, depending on the workers you have, the project, you get what I'm saying, the money you have available, and the resources, like the materials that you have available. But yeah, I think it's possible.
Held in 15 stadiums across 5 different cities throughout the country. Of these 15 stadiums, 11 are going to be built from the ground up, while the remaining 4 are either being completely renovated or temporarily upgraded in order to meet FIFA standards. If you look at a map of all the venues for the event, you can pretty clearly see that there was an attempt, at least, to bring the prestigious games outside of just the major population centers like Riyadh or Jeddah. One of these relatively smaller cities, which will be hosting some of the matches, is the city of Aba, located in southwestern Saudi Arabia. The city was chosen largely because of the already existing King Khalid University Stadium. Other than that, Aba also has its own international airport, which is easily accessible from both the city center and the stadium itself. The venue is currently planned to be refurbished in order to increase its capacity to 45,000. Work on this upgrade is set to begin in 2030, and it's expected to be completed by 2032. Once the World Cup is over, the venue will continue to be used by the university and local community just like before the tournament.
Here's the 2-minute story of how I built a $10 million a year online business and how my mistakes and successes can help you.
Now, moving over to the complete opposite side of the country is the city of Al-Khobar, located along the coast of the Persian Gulf. Unlike the city of Aba, the stadium in Al-Khobar is being built completely from scratch. This is the Aramco Stadium, a 46,000 capacity venue which will be located in the middle of the city. One probable reason for this location being chosen as one of the host cities for the event is its proximity to the biggest airport in the world, at least in terms of surface area. The city itself is also easily accessible from Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh, via the Dammam railway station. What's interesting about this specific stadium is that it's already set to host the 2027 AFC Asian Cup. Because of this, construction has already begun back in July 2024, and it's currently expected to be completed by 2026. After the 2034 games, the stadium will serve as the home ground for Al Qadsiya FC, a team currently ranked in the top 5 of the Saudi Pro League. Next, we head to the much talked about host city, Neom. Before we show you this insane stadium on top of the line, we quickly want to thank today's sponsor, MyHeritage. You're probably somewhat familiar with this. Most of us know our parents and grandparents very well, but go back a few generations and things start to get really blurry. That's where MyHeritage comes in. To give you a better idea, Freddie from our team used MyHeritage to fill out his family tree. Luckily, Freddie had an old book from his grandma, which helped him trace his family tree all the way back to 1750. And with MyHeritage, some fascinating documents came to light. For example, take this newspaper article where Freddie's, wait for it, great-great-great-great-grandfather is mentioned by name. Beyond that article, other documents popped up, and even more relatives that Freddie had no idea even existed. For instance, we found out that his great-great-grandfather had a sister, and we were able to add her to his family tree thanks to MyHeritage. You can also add photos, like this picture of Freddie's great-great-great-grandmother. And here's the cool part, MyHeritage can bring those old family photos to life. You can turn black and white pictures into colorful ones, or even wilder, animate them. I gotta admit, that one's a little bit spooky, but hey, whatever works. With over 90 million users, MyHeritage is the leading service for family history. You'll have access to more than 28 billion records, including photos, newspaper articles, documents, and much more. If you want to try it out for yourself, you can test out MyHeritage for free for 14 days using the first link in the description or the QR code on the screen right here. And hey, if you find out that you're secretly descended from royalty, be sure to let us know in the comments. Maybe you can sponsor our next video. Anyways, big thanks to MyHeritage for supporting this video, and now let's get back to Saudi Arabia's stadium in Neom. Okay, so the only information that we know so far is that the Neom Stadium is supposed to have a similar capacity to the others, while being situated 350 meters above the ground on top of the line. I know, that sounds impossible to do, especially considering the current status of the line itself. If this venue were ever to be built, it would obviously become the highest stadium in the world. And given that the linear...
It will be the highest stadium, I ain't gonna lie, bro. These are a big project, bro. And I know they have the money to do it. It's just the time, that's it. They just need the time. The workers, they already have the workers, like, obviously. You get what I'm saying? It's just the time. And I think it's possible for them to get everything done before 2034. Sorry about that. 2034.
City will only be 200 meters wide. It's going to be a nightmare to manage the tens of thousands of people that would flock to this place during the World Cup. Well, assuming that that's even going to be possible in the first place. Despite a lot of question marks surrounding Neom and the line, Saudi Arabia seemed to be serious about finishing their sports venues in time. This can be seen when we look at the progress on Trojena, which is set to host the Asian Winter Games in 2029. And with the pressure of hosting the World Cup, they kinda have no other choice here. We now take a look at the historic city of Jeddah by the Red Sea coast. The plan is to construct 3 brand new stadiums here and upgrade the existing King Abdullah Sports City Stadium to meet FIFA standards. A few kilometers to the north of the city will be the similarly named King Abdullah Economic City Stadium, a brand new stadium that will serve as the centerpiece of a special economic zone that's continuously been built up over the past 2 decades. The stadium will begin construction in 2027, and it's supposed to open its doors 5 years later. Now, similar to the previously mentioned venue, the Qiddiya Coast Stadium will be located to the north of Jeddah. This venue will have a capacity of 46,000, and it's designed in a way that the upper tiers of the seating can be removed. This way, the capacity can be reduced down to just 25,000 once the tournament is over. This makes it so that the venue can still be used and reconfigured for different kinds of events, like concerts and esports competitions, which would comparably have a smaller live audience. Finally, the Jeddah Central Development Stadium will be located right in the middle of the city. And based on the renders that are currently available for its design, right in the middle of the city is a pretty good way to describe what the stadium is actually gonna look like. The design of the surrounding buildings is inspired by the traditional architecture of the nearby Al-Balad district. Now, all of these 4 stadiums will easily be connected to major transportation hubs, given the city's already existing expansive bus network. There's also the Haramain high-speed railway that runs from Medina up to Mecca, while passing through the entirety of Jeddah. Okay, heading over to the final and most important host city, we have Saudi Arabia's capital, Riyadh. The city will be home to a total of 8 stadiums, 6 of which will be completely brand new, while the remaining 2 will have their capacities increased for the upcoming World Cup. The first of the 2 is the King Saud University Stadium. Its capacity is going to be increased from the current 26,000 up to a much more impressive and FIFA-compliant 46,000. The second existing venue is the King Fahd Sports City Stadium, which is known for its distinctive fabric roof resembling traditional Bedouin tents. This stadium will be one of the bigger ones for the event, and will have a capacity of as much as 70,000 spectators once the renovations are complete. It'll be able to host up to semi-final matches per FIFA's guidelines for World Cup stadiums. But going back to the brand new venues, we have the South Riyadh Stadium, which will be located in a central area south of the capital. Its design is inspired by the Salmani architectural style, which is unique to Saudi Arabia. They hope to finish building this massive venue in just 3 years' time. But with such tight schedules, there's hardly any room for delays. It'll be intriguing to see just how quickly they can bring these massive construction projects to life, especially for plans like that Neom Stadium. Located just a few minutes north of the previous location, the Prince Faisal bin Fahd Sports City Stadium is actually an already existing and functioning venue. But unlike all the other existing stadiums for the event, this one is going to be completely demolished and rebuilt instead of just renovated to accommodate FIFA standards. Hosting such a prestigious international event like the World Cup, of course, comes with a very high cost. Completely demolishing an already existing stadium and building a new one on top of it isn't exactly the cheapest way to do things. Although
I know this thing gonna cost billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, bro. Cause you have to build the road, you have to build the stadium, bro. And they building like most of the things. They probably building them in the desert, like nowhere, bro. That's gonna cost a lot of money. I ain't gonna lie, bro. But I think it's possible. But one of the stadiums said like 3 years, 5 years. God, I thought it would take. That's what I always thought it was. I thought you could build a stadium in like 6 to 9 months. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, if you have the money and then the workers, you get what I'm saying, or the equipment is already there, you can just get it done like every day. They come to work every day, then get it done every day. You get what I'm saying?
There aren't any published figures just yet. We can make comparisons with the recently concluded Qatar World Cup to get a very rough idea of just what kind of costs hosting a World Cup really entails. Qatar spent about $10 billion to construct 7 new stadiums for the event, and with Saudi Arabia building even more venues than that, just the cost of creating all the stadiums would put the Saudi government behind by somewhere around $15 to $20 billion. When factoring in additional infrastructure costs, that estimate could easily end up being much higher, especially given that the 4 remaining venues we haven't even mentioned yet are arguably some of the most ambitious and uniquely designed stadiums in the entire world. So let's take a look at them, starting off with the new Murabba Stadium. And if that name sounds kind of familiar to you, well, a certain giant cube has actually just started construction right across the highway from this stadium. The new Moraba Stadium's distinctive design is inspired by the look and texture of the acacia tree, almost like the structure itself is a living organism. Continuing with the theme of unique and natural architecture is the Roshan Stadium. Looking at this structure from afar, it doesn't even look like a football stadium. One interesting feature of this venue is that this crystal structure will actually glow at night, further selling the crystal motif that the stadium has going for itself. The next venue can probably be described perfectly with just a single word: technology. The Prince Mohammed bin Salman Stadium is planned to be unlike any other stadium in the entire world, both in terms of its design and the many different technological advancements that it makes use of. For one, just the exterior of the stadium alone, with every single side of the structure completely filled with LED screens. It's enough to feel like a futuristic sci-fi vibe. But what's even more impressive with this one is that both the roof and the pitch will be completely retractable, meaning that this venue could transform from an outdoor football stadium into an indoor arena with just the push of a button. It'll be located in Qiddiya, a planned smart city just outside of Riyadh with a focus on entertainment and tourism. This venue is planned to host up to the third place playoff match. Now, real quick, if you're enjoying this video, we'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to Megabuilds. This actually helps us out a lot, so thanks in advance. And now, last but definitely not least, we have the biggest stadium of them all, the King Salman International Stadium. It'll have a mind-boggling seating capacity of 92,000 spectators. Once completed, it would become the biggest stadium in the entire Middle East, beating out the Lusail Stadium in Qatar, which only has 89,000. Because of its insane size, this venue is also planned to host both the opening match of the 2034 World Cup and the highly anticipated final. The shape of the stadium itself takes inspiration from the mountainous landscape of the surrounding areas of the city. Now, unsurprisingly, Saudi Arabia's plans for this World Cup are very ambitious, a theme that's basically become their defining characteristic when it comes to construction projects. But in other major projects, like the construction of the line, the topic of human rights keeps coming up, with reports of poor labor practices, forced displacements, and even someone being killed to make way for construction in Neom. Human rights organizations are definitely taking a closer look at the upcoming Saudi World Cup. Additionally, concerns about the treatment of migrant workers, women, and LGBTQ+ individuals are already being raised. Just a month before FIFA formally votes on Saudi Arabia's bid, Amnesty International even called on the federation to halt the bid entirely, citing human rights concerns. With this international event, they now have a chance to show that they can improve on their practices. Whether they'll actually use it, only time will tell. But what's your take on this upcoming event? We're actually pretty curious to hear your opinions on that, so let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you want to discover more about your family's history, make sure...
Yeah, this was a good video, man. But basically, I think, yeah, it's possible. It's possible for them to get all those stadiums done like in 9 years. You get what I'm saying? And get all the end construction done and stuff. But yeah, this was a good video, man. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friend and family, leave a comment. Yeah, see you in the next video. Stay blessed and be safe. Stay blessed and be safe. Bye.